At the age of 4, I suffered my first face plant. I was pushing my toy fire engine, hell-bent down the sidewalk, hit a raised crack in the cement, and went over head first. I knocked out my 2 front teeth, and after that all I heard as a kid was that haunting Yuletide lyric, "All I want for Christmas is my 2 front teeth." Now, as an adult, all I want is 2 more teeth on my rear cassette, and I don't have to wait for Christmas. Hi, I'm Paul Andrews, and this is PNWmtb, live to you from Seattle. Okay, so a couple of weeks ago, I raised the question of whether SRAM's new 52-tooth cassette was really worth the upgrade. After all, it's just 2 teeth, and whatever benefits it offered, there could be downsides as well. So I got my hands on the new cassette and a compatible GX derailleur, and now I've had half a dozen long rides on them, ranging from easy green to mucky Rudy black diamond. Before I go further, I should say that as is my policy, I paid for the new drivetrain out of my own pocket, so nothing on this review is sponsored. Before we talk about performance, a word about cosmetics. Call me shallow. I love the colors. I wanted to get the new copper color, but the waiting list was way too long, and I was replacing a gold setup on my bike, so I figured I'd stick with that. Also, as it turned out, and a word to the wise, I did not have to replace my gold chain. Those 2 extra teeth are not enough to warrant a chain reconfiguration, which is nice because the chain I had was only a few months old. So how'd the new 52-tooth actually perform? Well, here's the breakdown. On my various mountain bikes, I have the XX1, the X01, and the GX drivetrains. On this particular bike, my cross-country trail bike, the Spot Ride 115, I was upgrading from a 50-tooth GX to the 52-tooth GX, so it was apples to apples. And on standard 1 to 2 gear changes, I'd say the shifting is comparable between the two. No surprise, particularly since the gearing is exactly the same on both drivetrains except for the jump to the granny. In that regard, my experience was that downshifting was comparable. The click up from second to first feels about the same. The click back down, sometimes it was a little clunky, but hey, it's about what you'd expect. Here's the caveats. The GX, in my opinion, ain't particularly smooth shifting. It's not awful. It gets the job done, and let's face it, it shifts, but it ain't particularly buttery either. Sometimes it's seamless, sometimes you get that clunking. There's not much predictability, it just does what it does. Given my druthers, yeah, I'd go with the XO or the XX1 every time. The latter is much smoother, I just like it better, but it's up to you, dear viewer, to decide whether the extra cash is worth it. Now, regarding the clearance issue on the rear derailleur, my measurements showed that the cage drops down 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch further than the 50-tooth derailleur. I haven't encountered any issues yet, but I'm keeping an eye out, particularly on a 27.5 wheel. I'm thinking the cage is getting down there. I'll report back on this issue when it comes time for my long-term review, but so far so good. Shifting aside, what really impressed me about the 52-tooth was how much that additional low gear mattered. Going up steep switchbacks, over rubbly risers, lifting up over stumps. That low gear came in handy. I also appreciated having it on long fire road climbs, especially when the going got steep, as can happen here in the PNW. The only problem is how spoiled I got when I switched back to my Bronson, which has only 50 teeth. Wow, it was like, hey, I'm working way too hard now. Admittedly, I'm no young Turk, and I can get by without the 52 tooth. I just need all the help I can get these days, and found myself surprised at how much difference it made. Now, I suggested in my first look video that the 52 tooth was aimed squarely at the sucker market, and yeah, guilty as charged. So even though I came from a skeptical place, I think SRAM has a keeper with this thing, and I give it a shot. I hope this helps, and please say hi when you pass me on the upgrades, grinding along on your 32-tooth cog the next time I see you out on the trail.